all things related to mental health and well-being. So now I'm delighted to introduce our lovely nutritionist, Lily Soutter, to the program. Hello, Lily.
Hello, hi.
How are you?
Good, thank you.
So you're going to be telling us a bit about anxiety and panic attacks and what we can actually eat to help prevent those kind of things. And also you're going to be making something very shortly. But first of all, can you tell us, is there a link between what we eat and the way that we feel regarding anxiety?
So when it comes to nutrition and anxiety, there are certain foods that may exacerbate symptoms or sort of certain dietary factors. And then there are also some foods which can actually be very calming to the body. Yeah. I think a main area which we need to look at is caffeine. So caffeine is a stimulant, and anxiety is actually a stressor on the body. It puts our bodies into sort of a fight or flight mode, and it produces the stress hormone cortisol. And caffeine can actually do exactly the same thing. It's an acute stressor on the body. It stimulates adrenaline, which stimulates the release of the stress hormone cortisol. So you sort of got a double whammy there, which is not so great. Yeah. So different people can tolerate caffeine to different extents. Different people have different thresholds of how much they can have, and some people can have a lot of caffeine and feel fine, whereas others start feeling jittery and it can just exacerbate anxiety. So I guess just cutting back on the caffeine, if you do suffer from anxiety or panic attacks, it's never going to help just like piling up on the caffeine. So there's so many calming herbal teas out there. So chamomile tea, there's a lot of research around chamomile tea and its calming effects. Lavender is very, very calming as well. Lemon balm's sort of a member of the mint family, and again there's a lot of research around anxiety and lemon balm tea. And I think like with anxiety, people do struggle with sleep. It's just a massive factor which can be linked to anxiety. And valerian root is sort of the herb of choice when it comes to sleep disorders and anxiety, and it can be very, very calming. So a cup of valerian root tea an hour before bed can be perfect to help sort of just calm you and help induce sleep. The one thing I would say with that is if you're going to have any herbal teas, is always just go to your doctor first, check that your medication doesn't interact with those herbs. So especially for, say, valerian root, it can interact with certain medications. So just double checking that before you do embark on herbal teas. So herbal teas are great. just you know, just something else. Have you ever seen cats react around valerian root tea? It's so
what? I haven't.
Funny. It's so funny. Both of my cats, they go crazy.
Oh really? That's so interesting.
Yeah, try it if you can.
Yeah,
just
will do.
Wave a valerian root tea bag at them.
They react. That's so interesting.
So you're going to be making something for us as well?
I will do, yeah. I was going to talk actually about omega-3 fats. So I've got some sardines here as well, which are so rich in these healthy omega-3 fats. And when it comes to anxiety, there is a link. And there was a study done with medical students where they had supplements of omega-3 fats and their anxiety symptoms reduced by 20%. Saying that was one study, but I think the link is just purely because our brain is basically made up of these healthy omega-3 fats. About 60% of the brain is fat, basically. So there is a strong link there. And I guess like with the other components of the salad, we've got spinach here, which is very, very rich in magnesium. So anything which is sort of dark green leafy veg, spinach, kale, rocket, you've got magnesium in it, which is a very, very calming mineral and can help to alleviate anxiety and also can help with sleep as well. Okay, so quite an interesting combination there, but let's see how it all works together. So you've got a bit of salt and sweet flavours combined, a little bit of healthy fats as well. So first thing is obviously the magnesium-rich spinach leaves. So it's a very, very simple salad to make. Just take that one out. Yeah. And then what we do is we just top it with a little bit of mango. Doesn't that look lovely already, just that green and yellow? Yeah, so lots of antioxidants there, just purely because of all the rich colours that you have. So, and then what I like to do is add a little bit of avocado. So these are full of healthy fats, and what they're going to do is they help to balance blood sugar, which again is really important for anxiety. As soon as our blood sugar levels crash, it can induce anxiety basically, or irritability or tetchiness. So you just slice the avocado and you can place on the plate however you like. Two of my favourite ingredients there, the avocado and the mango. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And there we go. So you have your avocado on the plate. And then a really important component of the salad are the sardines. So these are really, really rich in omega-3 fats. The smaller the fish, almost, and when it comes to oily fish, almost it's the healthier, purely because it has less mercury in it. Small oily fish are really healthy, and not enough people eat sardines because they're sort of not as common as, say, sort of salmon. So
I actually forget to eat sardines. I eat salmon and things like that, but I forget to sort of just keep a couple of tins in the
exactly.
In the
and they're just something which can be really easy, and they taste really great to add in salads, but they're just not something that people always necessarily think of. So. And you've got sort of the salt and sweet flavours together, which can taste really great. This will also add a protein element, and protein can help to balance blood sugar.
Okay.
And then lastly, we squeeze some lime juice on.
That actually looks so yummy and healthy. Look at that.
Yeah, very healthy.
Brilliant.
And then,
and
that's
voila.
your salad.
Lunch is served, or dinner, or whatever you want to have it, even breakfast.
Summery salad. So,
So Lily, we've got also a few questions from our viewers for you today. This person's asking, what are good foods to eat whilst intermittently fasting?
Okay, so I think it's important to think about what actually intermittent fasting is, because a lot of people don't really know, and it's basically an umbrella term for diets which do cycles of periods with fasting and then periods without fasting. And there are several out there, and a good example of a very popular diet which uses intermittent fasting is the 5-2 diet. And this is basically where you have 2 days a week where you could be eating something like 500 calories for each day, and then the rest of the week you eat your calorie consumption as per normal, as per usual. The issue with that is some clients I see, they will do the 500 calorie day, and they, whacking in all these unhealthy foods, and they're foods which aren't nourishing to the body, and they're not filling either. So it's not necessarily going to be healthy, and you will struggle with this intermittent fast, and you'll be very hungry if you're filling up on, nutrient poor foods which are very high in sugar. So starting your day with sort of, white toast with jam, and then moving on to a very low calorie energy bar which is full of sugar will not fill you. So rather than solely focusing on the calories that you're having, it's good to think about the nutrition content of the food. Make sure you're getting a protein element on your plate. Protein will basically fill you, it suppresses appetite. If you can get a healthy fat element as well, which again could come from, say, avocado, great. And I think, say you are doing a 500 calorie day, whacking in tons of vegetable, lots of fibre into your diet as much as possible. So filling at least 2/3 of your plate with lots of low starch vegetables, which are very low in calories, but are very, very filling, and they're very nourishing at the same time. So
brilliant. Okay, got time for another one. I'm 21 and I suffer with quite serious heartburn. What can I do to reduce the symptoms? It's quite young to have.
Yeah, so they're quite common triggers which are well known, and it doesn't mean that she has to completely remove all of these triggers. It's just something to be mindful of. Very large meals can trigger heartburn. Just too much pressure within the stomach can sort of induce acid reflux, and then heartburn can be sort of a symptom of that. Spicy foods can trigger it as well for some people. Alcohol, caffeine. I've spoken to a lot of people who find citrus fruits, it's very interesting, can trigger heartburn. So sort of even limes, lemons, grapefruit, oranges, all these sort of citrus fruits may trigger heartburn. High fat meals, very, very sort of fatty meals for some people can trigger heartburn. And it's a case we don't always know what's going to trigger, and it can be different for each person, but those are probably the most common triggers, and it's just something to have in the back of your mind. So
brilliant, thanks for that. And one more. I have recently been diagnosed with diabetes. What is best for me to eat? This person's asking.
So the key with that is just balancing blood sugar, and I know I talk a lot about blood sugar, but it's just so vital. So with each meal there needs to be a protein element. Protein will literally slow the rate at which sugar from a carbohydrate or from a sugar source like a fruit enters the bloodstream. So it will slow the rate that any sugar enters the bloodstream. So it's a very key component. So will fat. So whether it's healthy fats coming from seeds or nuts or oils or avocado, and so will fibre. So you find fibre in things like vegetables, in fruit, and also in whole grains. So fibre, fat, protein is key at each meal and snack. There is one element which sometimes when I speak to people with diabetes, there's a little confusion around it, and they reducing sugar within their diet in the sense of cakes, biscuits, sweets, soft drinks, and they're getting rid of those, but they're actually replacing those sugars with tons of fruit and dried fruit. And I think some people think that, you know, they're doing really well in that sense because they are cutting out the refined sugars from their diet, but we've still got to remember, if you're starting your day with, you know, 2 bananas in your smoothie, or a very you know, fruit rich smoothie, it will still spike your blood sugar. So it's being mindful of the amount or the types of fruit you're having. And just as a little fact, berries, strawberries, blueberries, raspberries, blackberries tend to have the lowest sugar content out of all the fruits.
Okay.
So it's just something to be mindful of.
Brilliant. Lily, thank you so much.
No problem at all.
We'll see you again very soon.
Great,
on the program.
see you soon.
Brilliant. Okay, don't go away, because after the break, I'll be hearing from Mark Abrahams of our Good Cause of the Week, Recycle Your Cycle. And I'll be telling you 2 things you can do to reduce stress and stop anxiety. But first, what is the most common age group of those struggling with anxiety or depression? Is it A, 26 to 30, B, 32 to 36, or C, 50 to 54? Do you know the answer? Find out